Hello and welcome. I'm Dean Leffingwell, and I'm going to be your guide as we explore what's new in SAFe version 4.5. When it comes to updating the framework, our goal is constant. We want to help enterprises get better business results faster and on a more reliable basis. To do this, we need to keep pace with emerging development and technology trends so that enterprises know they can rely on SAFe to meet the ever-changing demands of today's marketplace. Our development methods and practices evolve and change. We learn new things every day. We need to evolve and change too. This new version, 4.5, reflects field research from hundreds of implementations and, of course, feedback from our customers and the community. It also continues to incorporate learnings from advances in the bodies of knowledge from lean and systems thinking, agile development, lean startup, product development flow, and DevOps and continuous delivery. As you learn more about this update, you'll find 4.5 to be even leaner, more agile, and better at fostering faster innovation than any of its predecessors. Before we get to what's new, I want to point out that this version of SAFe is fully backwards compatible. An organization can update to SAFe 4.5, adopt the new practices at their own pace, and enjoy the benefits of the new features without rocking the boat of their current implementation. For those of you using SAFe 4.0, we're committed to supporting that version, as well as all the associated courseware for 12 months following the release of 4.5. So let's dive in. For starters, we simplified the name. SAFe is a big tech framework that can accommodate any organization, regardless of size or complexity. And it isn't just about IT, software, and systems development. Without our business partners, we know we can't build the best systems possible. So we've updated its name to reflect that. The framework is now known as SAFe for Lean Enterprises. Now let's get down to the business of learning about the new features. This release contains 4 key improvements: essential SAFe and configurability, innovation with lean startup and lean UX, scalable DevOps and continuous delivery, and the new implementation roadmap. First, there are now 4 out-of-box configurations of SAFe, designed to meet the needs of those who are just starting, those who are already building significant systems with SAFe, and those larger enterprises who can use everything SAFe has to offer. With 4.5, you can also test your ideas more quickly with a lean startup cycle and lean user experience. The scalable DevOps and continuous delivery pipeline applies lean agile principles across the entire lifecycle and the software and system supply chain. It enables businesses to maximize the speed of product or service delivery from initial idea to release, from customer feedback to enhancements, providing a 360-degree build, measure, learn feedback loop. Finally, the new SAFe implementation roadmap is a powerful new guidance tool that describes a series of steps or critical moves an enterprise can take to ensure an orderly, reliable, and successful SAFe rollout. We'll take a few minutes to explore each area, starting with essential SAFe and configurability. So let's do that now. So let's take a little deeper look at what's new in SAFe 4.5. As we mentioned briefly, there are 4 major release themes: essential SAFe and configurability, innovation with lean startup and lean UX, scalable DevOps and continuous delivery, the implementation roadmap, and if time, we'll show you a bunch of other fairly important stuff. We'll start with essential SAFe and configurability. That's probably best done via demo, so I'll demo the site live now and show you the basic configurations of SAFe. So let's take a quick look online and see version SAFe 4.5. I won't spend much time here because you can do this on your own. What you see here is the basic landing page now for SAFe with the essential SAFe configuration selected. If you wanted to learn more about that, I guess it'd be pretty obvious. You would just click Learn More, and that will take you to a page that describes all about essential SAFe, and you can scroll around there and see other configurations as well. Going back to essential SAFe, you also see that we've structured the menus a little bit differently. We simplified the design, we've improved the white space. You see the continuous delivery pipeline integrated right in the middle. That's just one configuration. Now, a lot of us operate more like this. We use Essential Safe, but we use it in conjunction with a portfolio where we get help figuring out what our strategy should be, allocating strategy to budgets for the value streams, building the portfolio backlog of upcoming initiatives, worrying about the KPIs associated with our lean agile budgeting for each value stream. And you'll see pretty familiar things here. One thing you'll see that's a little bit different is lean portfolio management. We've restructured this, and in particular, our three favorite triangles have all been relabeled a little bit. The first one is strategy and investment funding. That's actually the same. Second, agile program guidance. And third, lean governance. So there's a pretty good story there about how to think about managing your portfolio with a much more lean and agile governance model. So that's Portfolio Safe. Well, here's a configuration that we've never been able to create before. What if I'm building a really big system? This is the large solution safe that I introduced earlier, a solution that requires a solution train and multiple arts and suppliers, and almost certainly solution intent, compliance, might use some advanced practices like model-based systems engineering. New roles and titles over here, one in particular, the value stream engineer is now the solution train engineer. This configuration doesn't have a portfolio because sometimes when people are building systems that big, that's not really a major concern. They know they have their funding, they're not worried about strategic themes, the way new work flows, it's all in their backlog, they've made that commitment already, and they're good to go. And then the last configuration, of course, is what if I was building large solutions, and I also wanted the portfolio? So in this configuration, you see what we describe as full safe. That's everything SAFE has to offer. So those of you building big systems and small systems and systems that require a little bit of coordination in some cases and a lot of coordination in other cases, this configuration is designed for you. Those are the basic configurations. You can, of course, learn more by going down here and clicking on Learn What's New in SAFE 4.5. And of course, the blog is always present. Anytime we make a material change of any type to the framework, we put a blog post up so that you can know what's different and what's new. So that's it for our brief little demo. Let's get back to some of the other release themes in SAFE 4.5. In addition to those configurations, you probably noticed that the spanning palette has been moved. It is now vertical. It allows an easier way to consider what elements of the spanning palette you might want to use in any configuration. So you could apply metrics to full safe, portfolio safe, and of course you could apply it to essential safe too. Or maybe you have milestones on essential safe. You've got a crisp deliverable. You can certainly have roadmap and vision. You can use any of these elements with any version of SAFE. Let's talk about how we help foster innovation with a lean startup and lean UX. You're probably familiar with the lean startup cycle, and basically it uses this magic word called hypothesis. A hypothesis basically says that you're about to do something important, something big. What are the business outcomes that you anticipate? Generally, that's in the form of an MVP, a minimum viable product. So when we think about an epic in the future, we won't think about a monolithic thing, though we never really did. We'll think about a thing that can be divided into its MVP and then maybe some future features. And we'll run that startup cycle, we'll deliver the MVP, we'll evaluate that work, and we'll come back and decide whether we should stop work or continue with additional features. We'll continue with those additional features until such time as they can no longer compete with other features from other sources entering the backlog. We've also added lean UX thinking. Lean UX is a step further than user interface design or user experience. Lean UX takes a slightly different position. Rather than focusing on pixel perfect designs, Lean UX focuses on outcomes. So each feature that you'll implement in SAFE will have an outcome hypothesis. Lean UX is not a siloed design function. It's collaborative design. The entire team is involved in that process. And that team will build the minimum marketable feature. And that's just what is needed to be able to evaluate the hypothesis. And that happens for each feature. So now you see scope being cut in two dimensions. First of all, the epic becomes an MVP, and that is decomposed into MVP features. And then each feature is also subject to the lean UX hypothesis-driven lifecycle. Let's talk about scalable DevOps and continuous delivery. Let's start with that hypothesis that we described earlier. How do we know that that thing actually works and delivers the potential business benefits that we'd hope for? Well, in many cases, we have to actually build it and deploy it. Now, there are other paper prototypes and sometimes simpler ways to getting an understanding of whether the hypothesis is going to be met by this new capability or not. But in general, we're probably going to have to move a lot of that close to or into production to get our feedback from market testing. In order to do that, we see three specific cycles. Continuous exploration, that's where our small batch size comes from. continuous integration, that's where that batch size gets integrated. Continuous deployment, which is how we deploy that into the staging environment on into production, and then finally the release itself. A slightly deeper look takes a look at this life cycle as a capability of an art, and that's the way we think about DevOps. DevOps is simply a capability of every agile release train. We call that the continuous delivery pipeline. So the new articles for each of these: continuous exploration, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and release on demand has been updated as well. How do you do all that? Well, I like to think of DevOps, this five-pronged approach: culture, automation, lean flow, measurement, and recovery, as the non-functional requirements on the pipeline. These are the things we're going to need to do to be successful. We're going to have a culture of shared responsibility. We're going to have to automate that delivery pipeline. We're going to have to use lean, otherwise where are we going to get our small batch size to begin with? We'll measure everything useful. And finally, if we're going to be able to deploy more frequently, we're going to have to be recovered, because mistakes are going to be made, and the ability to recover is integral to our ability to release more frequently. And to assist with all of that, we've extended the program Kanban to make sure that all of us, everyone on the ART, understands the full set of responsibilities. Those in the early portion, working in the funnel and analysis stage, have to start thinking about how that design, how that feature feeds all the way down the system. Those of us who are closer to the production side are going to be looking upstream and seeing things come. We're all going to be working together to provide a continuous flow of value where features move through funnel, analyzing, backlog, implementing, validating on the staging environments, deploying to production, releasing, and finally done. And done occurs when and only when we've achieved the outcome hypothesis of the MVP. The implementation roadmap. Some months ago, we started drafting the implementation roadmap articles, and we created this diagram, this little map, if you will, to show you a series of critical activities, steps that you can take to help assure a successful implementation is safe. There's a lot of detail there, so we certainly won't go into it now, but it includes training the lean agile change agents and training executives and leaders, identifying the value streams and arts, creating the implementation plan, preparing for the ART launch, train teams and launch the ART, coach ART execution to help make sure that they succeed, launch more arts and value streams, extended the portfolio, and finally, sustain and improve. And before we leave, there's a few other things that we should look at. One is the value stream level was never particularly well named. There's always a value stream whether you have the value stream level or not. It is now called the large solutions level. And in that large solutions level, we've embodied another thing, the solution train. In the same way that people and activities involved in the agile release train deliver value, the solution train does the same thing, coordinating the various arts and suppliers. And finally, compliance is an increasingly important topic. Most everyone building systems is subject to some form of regulatory or other standards. And if we don't understand that, we are not able to use our lean agile methods and still provide assurance that we're complying to the relevant standards and specifications, we're going to fail just as if we didn't build a system to begin with. So you'll read about compliance in SAFE now, and this is an area that we're going to continue to elaborate over the next year or two. And we'll talk about how you move from a traditional quality management system to a lean QMS, which allows you to build the solution and compliance incrementally, organize for value and compliance, build quality and compliance in, continuously verify and validate the system as you build it, and finally, release validated solutions on demand. That concludes our tour of SAFE 4.5. We hope that you enjoy applying the new version of the framework as much as we enjoyed creating it. It is our sincere hope that SAFE will help you on your mission of building the best possible software and systems that contribute to the efficiency, economy, safety, and lifestyles of people and society everywhere. After all, better systems make the world a better place.